Ibrahim Traoré is a strong character who is unwavering in his resolve to lead in a world where influence and power can promote jealousy and dishonesty. A struggle between deceit and truth breaks out as rumors of lies and defamation reverberate through the political corridors. Traoré meets the attack with unyielding tenacity, aware that progress is fraught with difficulties. He stands tall in this dangerous environment, ready to take on those who would damage his name. This resilient leader is prepared to confront any challenge and will not let the flood of lies defeat him. So, in today's video, we will delve into the world of Ibrahim Traoré, a man ready to face his adversaries head-on, armed with truth and an unyielding spirit. We will also see some of the media outlets Traoré has suspended because of the frequent lies they spread. But before we continue, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the New Tourist channel to get first-hand information on whatever is going on in Burkina Faso and Africa as a whole. Burkina Faso on Tuesday suspended French broadcaster TV5 for 6 months for spreading disinformation. The communications regulator, CSC, accused the channel of spreading malicious insinuations and disinformation about the country's transitional government. It also hit TV5 with a fine of 50 million CFA francs, approximately $82,000. Note that France is doing all this just to stir up protests in Burkina Faso. The media outlet faced criticism from the communication regulator for having Newton Ahmed Berry, who headed the election commission from 2014 to 2021 and was critical of the military regime on board. Also note that several foreign news outlets, predominantly French, have been closed down temporarily or permanently since Captain Ibrahim Traoré took over the country in a coup in September 2022. In April, the military government suspended BBC and Voice of America after broadcasting a report by Human Rights Watch that accused the military of terminating civilians. Take note that it also suspended TV5 for 2 weeks that same month for these very reasons. Human Rights Watch that the army had terminated over 223 people in areas where there were allegations of collaboration with militants, 56 of whom were minors. International media outlets, such as the Associated Press, covered the story extensively. The suspension reduced the BBC ability to reach audiences with independent and accurate news, but they said they will continue to report on the region in the public interest and without fear or favor. Additionally, the authorities in Burkina Faso ordered internet service providers to halt access to Voice of America, the BBC, and HRW websites and digital platforms. The authorities in Burkina Faso have previously shut down French radio and television channels and evicted correspondents from French newspapers, so TV5's suspension did represent an exceptional episode. The transitional government of Burkina Faso suspended all distribution of media associated with French news outlet Jeune Afrique in the country as of September 25th of last year. This suspension followed a previous article on the same website in which Jeune Afrique alleged that discontent was growing in Burkina Faso barracks. Also note that hundreds of Burkinabé protested outside the U.S. Embassy in Burkina Faso's capital Ouagadougou in May, against Washington's reaction to the Human Rights Watch accusations of the terminations. London and Washington jointly urged Ouagadougou to thoroughly investigate these massacres and hold those responsible to account. Shopkeepers and private sector employees marched towards the embassy mid-afternoon, screaming anti-imperialist slogans adorned with Russian and Burkinabé flags. The embassy was guarded by police who were on riot. Some of the questions people were asking themselves were, where were these human rights defenders when terrorists were terminating their populations? What were they doing? Mahamadou Ouedraogo, spokesman for the Liberation Federation of Pan-Africanists, which organized the demonstration, said, "We have come to deliver a message to the Americans to put an end to these accusations against our armed forces who are defending the country at the cost of their lives." Some people believe that Burkina Faso's journalists shouldn't have to deal with government censorship in addition to the difficulties of covering the nation's insecurity. The director of the Reporters Without Borders Sub-Saharan Africa Bureau, Sadibou Merong, said in April that these suspensions were another blow to press freedom in Burkina Faso. Are you wondering what he is going to say this time? We too are. Others are in support of this suspension. they believe some of these news outlets and TV stations go beyond what they ought to report. As all this is going on, things are becoming so tense in the country as Burkina Faso's military regime in power says it will extend its rule for 5 years under an accord adopted during national consultations. Colonel Moussa Diallo, the leader of the organizing committee of the national dialogue process, said the transition's duration is set at 60 months starting on July 2. He added that after the transition period is over, coup leader and acting President Ibrahim Traoré will be free to compete in any election. Note that under the new charter, quotas will no longer be used to assign members of traditional parties seats in the assembly. Instead, patriotism will be deemed the only criterion for selecting deputies. The original charter stipulated a 21-month transition period to civilian administration with a July 1 deadline. However, Traoré has often cautioned that elections would